Ryback Show starts now. Welcome to the Ryback Show live. I am the big guy Ryback. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Streaming live over on Instagram and the big guy Ryback20 on IG and TikTok. Thank you for all the love and support over there on the live stream. If you want to come over to the show, swing on over to Ryback TV on YouTube. We're also on Twitch at Ryback Rules and Twitter at Ryback streaming live over there as well. But on YouTube over here for Ryback TV, guys, your questions are answered over here through super chats or as I see them pulled up on the screen. So that is the preferred place of viewing over on YouTube. We are available on all podcast platforms as well. If you'd like to listen to the audio version later on, iTunes reviews are greatly appreciated. And thank you for all the love and support across all platforms. This podcast is brought to you by Feed Me More Nutrition, my premium supplement line, sweetened with stevia and monk fruit, no harmful artificial sweeteners or colors, vegan friendly for men and women on feedmemore.com. You can check out all the cool new Ryback merch over on feedmemore.com as well, guys. Swing over to the merch section. I just got off a call a little bit ago. The new website, I'll have to review everything, but we're very, very close, a matter of days here, hopefully, of debuting the new website. But the merchandise, you can get a lot of that over there now on the merch section. So check that out. We've got sweatpants, shorts, t-shirts, everything for men and women, workout tank tops, a bunch of different accessories, drinkware, and things of that nature. So check it out with the FMM logo, with the Ryback Rules, the Hungry, all that, guys. Check it out. A lot of cool stuff over on feedmemore.com. You can save 20%. Discount code RYBACKSHOW20. That's RYBACKSHOW20 at checkout on feedmemore.com. What do we got going on today, guys? Let's go ahead. Let's jump into the questions. I've been up since I actually woke up at 4 something, dozed back off to about 5. But I was up early once again today, getting everything done, and I got actually a call tomorrow with the attorneys, different attorneys, for a class action lawsuit against the social media companies here with all these that they have going on to go over my case of everything going on. But I'm being very proactive, and because I have to. And everything with the settlement with WWE, they have dragged their feet for 5 months, wasting 5 months of my time on a settlement that they just completely just wanted to waste 5 months up until. So we are going forward with the trial portion of the trademark, which I'm going to win. They know I'm going to win, and we'll see if they come around on their settlement that they proposed initially with everything. But I'm not wasting any more time. I'm finishing it. We're going to win the trademark, whether they like it or not. And then I'm going to be very proactive on the social media things. And I'm going to expose them one way or another unless I get my way on everything and all wrongs of the past are righted. And there's some big information. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of people want to know, what really happened with John Cena and Alex Riley. I could tell you exactly what happened with that. That's something I don't think they really, really want getting out, but I will talk about it at some point in time. They do know that. There's stuff that happened with Triple H and Caitlyn they don't want me to ever talk about. I will talk about it at some point in time. And that is very minute in the grand scheme of things on the information that I do have with them. But that's just kind of like haha stuff. That stuff's not the real bread and butter of the things that I will talk about. Because when you're fighting evil, you have to drop every bomb on them possible to try to hurt them. Because they are not going to stop me. They are not going to tire me out with everything that I'm doing. I've worked too hard for too long and overcome all their stupid lies and BS, that toxic culture and environment. And I'm going to win. And I'm going to win. I'm going to get my way. And so stay tuned, because things are about to get really interesting if they don't come around really, really quickly on everything. And with that, we continue to stay #hungry and fight the good fight and be good human beings and kick ass along the way. What's going on? Thank you, buddy. Saying you look at the talent they have now and you realize how big a loss you were to the roster. I appreciate that greatly. And Everything. I've been very honest and upfront with all of you on why I've done what I did to save my health and my life. And at the end of the day, and that was always the number one reason. And then you add in on top of it the trademarks and my branding and everything that I owned and created when I was outside of there, and all the blackmail they'd used to get me against me at various points. And it's not. This is. I'm in such a better place mentally and physically, and I've got my health back. But everything, like, my wrestling is not done. And I put a tweet out. And I'm sure again, this is another lie put out. It says now online that I'm retired. I ask you, have you guys ever heard me once announce my retirement? So it's usually to be retired, you have to say you're retired. Uh-oh. The damn battery on these solar. I'm using a solar charger, portable charger on my phone, and yeah, what a horrible. They just shut off. It was fully charged. You like leave them out in the sun, and they get their solar power. I guess this is for like doomsday emergency. Oh, came back on for a second. Yeah, these things suck, man. If the electricity ever goes out, these aren't going to work. What brand is this? The Four Patriots. Four Patriots. This thing sucks. Come on. I don't want my phone. I've got the TikTok live going. It has 20% battery. Maybe I'll have enough to get through the show. We'll find out. But anyways, but I appreciate that, and I'm actually very confident that I knew, and I knew this when I left. The way things I go, if I would have stayed there and things, I would have had to retire very shortly if I did stay, because I would have needed a 5-disc fusion and a shoulder replacement, and I wouldn't have known about the stem cells, and like it just wouldn't have, because they don't look at that stuff. I had to go out on my own and figure this all out and fix myself on my own with no help from them, by the way, none with all of this. So it is what it is with that. But I knew I go, and like, even with all their social media restriction, I go, I can go get myself more over being myself. And even with them trying and doing what they've done to restrict me, I still have more followers than anybody in wrestling right now outside of The Rock and the Great Khali with that in 3.5 years on there, right? And still on one of the I believe one of the best follows on social media. And you can call that tooting your horn all day long, but I had to learn a lot about this. And it comes down to just being yourself. And I'm sure there's people that absolutely hate me. Good for you with that. And I'm sure there's people I know that absolutely love me. Cool. Good for you. Thank you. But I just learned to, like, I don't give a damn, and I watch my language on the other platforms, but I'm just myself. You love me for me or you hate me for me. And it is what it is with that. And that comes with a lot of like self-development and learning, and just learning not to give a damn, quite frankly. Like, because I know how I live my life day to day, you know. Jake Truman, thank you, buddy. Always good to see you over here. Let's see. I would love, yes, Ryback. We got a question. Ryback, would you dare fight Brock Lesnar 1-versus-1 in the wrestling ring? You're damn right I would. He's one of the matches that I want. Somebody asked, do you ever jog outside in Vegas? We're running out of time for good outdoor weather before it's a hot mess here. Yeah, absolutely. It is getting extremely hot. I do my running on my assault runner in my gym here, and I do incline sprints at the gym. Usually, it's been every other week that I've been doing those, and I might actually do incline sprints today. I might swing over and do arms at the gym today. Um, but I don't run outside. I walk my dogs outside, but I don't ever go jogging or running outside. I like running on the treadmills if I do. And not to say, I've thought about oftentimes getting a bike just to go bicycling, because I used to love riding when I was younger, and just good to get out. But man, I work, and then like I always, like, I make a little time. I go sit outside in my backyard. My trees are all getting nice and big now, and it's really peaceful back there. And the weather's been this weather, like last night was beautiful here in Vegas, and today is a little cooler, but it's and cooler in the sense of it's not 115 degrees. That June, July here, yeah. But I work out in my gym, man, and I keep sometimes I like that I have the air cooler out there, and I'll keep the garage door open so the AC in the house circulates in there, and it actually is quite nice. But there's a lot of times I'll keep it closed if I just want to sweat, and I really push myself Rocky Balboa style in the deep heat. But then I got to stay hydrated doing that because it's and like it's that and after conditioning and like it's like being in a sauna and you just got to like you go take a shower and like you're sweating still. It's just like it takes a bit to cool off after that. And there's sometimes I'll do that and I'll just go hurry and jump in the pool. And I was like, man, these are what having a pool is for after hard workouts. Get the body temperature back down so then you can go take a shower and not sweat after the shower. That's that's my like I was like that's literally like, that's what pools are for. Outside of when you're a kid playing, you know. Let's see. Do your supplements have rage side effects? Never tried any before, but wanted to know. Stay hungry. Great question. No, there's nothing. Supplements, and I think a lot of times people are confused and they don't really understand what supplements are. And there's a lot of different supplement companies. Feed Me More Nutrition, though, we use natural ingredients, natural sweeteners, no harmful artificial sweeteners or colors. But supplements are like, so we use the majority of ingredients we use are ingredients that are found in food, right? And it's just supplementing your diet with different vitamins and minerals and things that you would get from consuming foods that oftentimes people don't have a diverse enough diet to do so. But there's supplements and ingredients that, when combined together synergistically, work really, really well at doing what the label says, depending on what that product is, like our Shell Shock weight management formula with that. There's so many different ingredients, like matcha green tea. Matcha green tea alone can increase your metabolism significantly. Matcha green tea with green coffee bean, with cayenne powder, and we have the ginseng to keep it cool so it doesn't burn your stomach on that at all. With that, with apple cider vinegar, with L-carnitine, all these individual great things that are really good at helping people increase their metabolism and lose weight, packed into this formula that I learned many, many years ago through trial and error and mixing and matching different natural ingredients. And boom, got a $140 bottle that I give to you guys for $34.99. That works bar none better than any other fat burner that you're going to find. Why? Because I made this for me. And this is why part of the reason I look the way that I look. I'm not some big steroid guy. This is me and making my own supplements since I was a kid. And that's the Feed Me More Nutrition difference. And that's with every formula. The sleep aid, the GTS go to sleep. I made that out of a necessity on the road because I was sick of coming down, drinking coffee all day, wrestling in front of thousands of people, driving 3 to 5 hours, and getting in my hotel room. And whether you do 2 beers and then you take some NyQuil and Benadryl, you're doing that for years. And I go, this is not a healthy way to go to bed, even though but it would knock me out, and then I'd wake up all groggy and hungover and go about my day like a machine. But I was like, this isn't a long term, like this isn't something you do long term. It's not something you should even ever have to do. And right now, like, that's where I came up with the GTS. I go, there has to be a natural way to combine natural ingredients. And I tried different things and that did not work individually. And it was when combining ingredients that do similar things in a little different way, that's where I found that this stuff works really, really well. And so that's what Feed Me More Nutrition is. It's not they're not drugs or steroids or performance enhancers in the sense of like of illegal drugs like that where they're going to hurt you. And it's so far from that. And the people that know, and that's why we have an over 80 something percent returning customer rate. And the people that know. And it's like I think, and the new website's going to be really cool, and keeping all the information that explains all that, but keeping the Ryback theme and kind of updating things to 2022 with everything, right? But like it's a mindset, and that's what I told you guys all along. The hashtag hungry. That's why, and I trademark and own this. It's Feed Me More Hungry. Feed Me More hashtag hungry. That is who I am. And in all areas of life, we're trying to be balanced. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean I'm perfect, but it's a mindset of waking up no matter what's going on in life. And that's why I share my journey and what's gone on. And I'm very transparent about the things because I look at it, I go, well, I'm getting a chance to prove my mindset, and it's testing me every single day with that. And I get a chance to prove that. Right. with that, and find, and like again, and that being hungry for happiness and learning to be satisfied and happy with the basic simple things with that, and not getting caught up in the game of, "Oh, I want to be a billionaire." And I do. I want to be the richest person on the planet and do, but I'm not obsessed with the sense of sacrificing things. And I strive for balance in all areas and doing what I'm passionate about, right? And going in on those things. And if I'm not like, I don't get caught up in fake things or being fake. I'm just me with that. And I try to just take that and that mindset and with everything that I do in my life. And that's Feed Me More Nutrition with that. And that's my mindset in creating all of this stuff for you guys with that. And yes, I make money and I make in sales, but it's doing so in a very good way in capitalism for good that I always talk about, which where everybody wins. Let's see here. What do we got going on today? Very cool. Thank you so much. Feed me more. I have your 1, 2, 3 joint tendon muscle formula for my knees, and I feel like I can hike at 10 p.m. That's absolutely fantastic. And that makes me feel so good. And I tell you guys, my dad's not like a supplement guy, and my dad loves the 1, 2, 3 muscle joint tendon formula. And he's 73 years old, plays golf 3 times a week, 2, 3 times a week, works out a few times a week, and very active. And he's nowhere like me as far as like loving to working out like that or anything. He never has been, and I don't know how. I just always had that in me. But the uh, the stuff works. Every single product I will stand by through and through. There's not one thing that we sell that I'd go, oh, maybe I shouldn't sell that. Like, nope. Like this is, I use everything that we sell on feedmemore.com. Got a super chat coming in. It's a little Starbucks coffee money for the big guy. This is my decaf for the day. Kyle, good to see you, my man. Tuning in from work. Great to see the big guy. What's your number one favorite movie? I get asked this quite a bit, I feel like, on here. So, and it's a tough, man. I'm always like, we always are so obsessed, like with the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the favorite. Like that favorite could be different depending on my mood with that. Like I always talk about like Terminator 2 to me is still like Terminator 2, if it's on TV, if I come across Terminator 2, I'm gonna watch it. But I love like Shallow Hal. There's something about Mary, Step Brothers, Wedding Crashers. Movies, those movies all have significant meaning at just different periods of my life that I have very fond memories of when I watch those movies, like feel good movies, right? But Terminator 2 is always that's always been my go-to that I always say I feel like, but comedy's right there with it, man. And it just depends. Total Recall. I love Total Recall. I love there's just like I don't know if I had a favorite. Like if you told me, but like so I'll do this. If you told me if there's a movie I had to watch over and over and over again, what's the one movie I've watched more than any other? That movie's Wedding Crashers, believe it or not, with Vince Vaughn. I love Vince Vaughn. Will Ferrell has a little cameo in it, and is it Owen Wilson? Yeah, but I watched that when I was in Louisville, Kentucky, and down and out for I used to drink to go to bed for I was drinking heavy for about a year and a half, maybe about a year, and getting up, working out, working super long days over at Smoky Bones when I was out from WWE developmental. And that movie, I would watch that movie to go to bed every night. I'd get off of work late, get the alcohol, watch wrestling matches, just because that's what I did every night. And I had all the WrestleMania DVDs. I always watch wrestling matches. And then I'd put that movie on and watch that movie because it made me feel good in a time where like I was pretty down. And then even though down, like just down and like just like life wasn't going as good for me is what it had been. And then I came across The Secret eventually and got my mindset back on track. Holy hell, where'd I get so negative and from? And it came from wrestling, from Deep South, and my fault. It all just a culmination of events that happened. Full blame on it. And then I got my mindset back on track, and then my life turned around instantly from there. But that movie holds a special place in my heart because that movie helped get me through like my little rough period, right? So like, that's why I say like it's so hard to just say a favorite with that. But like that's the one movie I've watched more than ever. But Terminator 2 is always one I always mention as well. William Schaefer, good to see you, my man. That Starbucks coffee money, spa money, shoulder money. You rock, big guy. Did you follow the Johnny Depp trial? I've just seen little bits and pieces on social media. Um, and I'm not aware. I've not outside of when it first started. I don't get too invested, but from what I've heard, I don't know the jury, the deliberations is ongoing, or have they come to a conclusion? Uh, from what I've seen, it appears Johnny's looking a lot better in all of this, but I try not to. It's their lives, and I know he wanted it recorded. I think for specific reasons, right, and whatnot. So, and I think too is like the older you get, and this is like, and this is stuff like, and here's I'm just gonna. So I've just seen little bits and pieces from the social media clips, but I'm not. I couldn't tell you what's going on outside of that. Outside of it, looks like from the clips I've seen that maybe he's looking better. Could be completely wrong on any of that, but and I've told you guys, I found that like not giving my time too much to things that don't really benefit or serve me or don't have really influence or affect my life, which I think we could all say that doesn't influence or affect any of our lives, right? Outside of entertainment or what you're watching from it, or maybe there's a lesson to be learned with like, hey, don't date the wrong person, which I think we all easier said than done, right? But being more aware of that, self-aware, and being aware of who you invest your time into and whatnot. But I've just found it is getting older and having a show, and I see like with a lot of the other, and you guys see this, like the other wrestling, and like this isn't like a wrestling. We talk about some wrestling on here, but it's a little bit of everything. And it's I want to help people as much as possible. I love answering questions, like giving advice more than anything, and it's great. I love wrestling too. But like you see, like a lot of the other shows are like the and I did this a little bit early on, and not a lot. I was always primarily ultra positive, but like even if you give something, the more opinions you give on things, it can get good attention and bad attention. But it's just like what really I just try to like I look at things. I'm like, do I want to have an opinion on that? We all have opinions, and I'm like, do I want to publicly state my opinion on that? And often I don't know if it's just like in the sense of like I don't even want to use the word maturity because I don't think it's maturity. I just think it's looking like, do you want to invest? Like, do I really want to invest any time into that with what I've got going on? And I look, that's what I ask myself a lot of times. And I'm not perfect. It's not going to happen on everything. But like, I'll be like, do I want to have an opinion on that? Like, and I'm like, and some things I'll say, yeah. And other things, oh, nah, I'm good. And just kind of go on, right? With that. And I think it's good to be self aware to even ask that question because I think it's good to have opinions on things, especially when you have a show, you're going to talk about things. And you always try to, I always try to take the positive aspect of it as much as possible. And again, even in just telling the truth with WWE and all the stuff that they're doing and have to be aggressive on that particular stuff. But like, I ask myself that more and more on things. Like, do I want to have an opinion on that? And sometimes I go, no, I don't. I don't care to share it. And I just keep going along with my day. Yes, I've met Stone Cold Steve Austin in real life. I've done his podcast twice now. Absolutely awesome guy. That would be a hell of a. Can you imagine? I should shoot him a text and say, "I bet you can't get me on your show. Your show now. Go do a live the Stone Cold show and just everything. No, it would be the most rated show he's done. No, just anything goes. Bashing Vince on it, the whole deal. That would it would be so uncomfortable, and I would be thriving just telling facts. Oh my God, Steve would have to have a talk with me. But try to look. We're going to keep it along these lines, and then I would go off the rails the first chance I get. All out, raise hell, chaos, bring in the highest rated show number, expose Vince even more. Vince just watching with his own cameras in the back, just fuming. God, I would love it. He gets on the show, me and just him, Vince going at it, just verbal, just sparring. No sparring, just the kill shots going on with that. Uh, that would be fun. Jose says, "What will you do when you reach 500,000 subs on YouTube, big guy?" Brother, I'm at the point. The subs don't even matter. The subscriptions, they have everything so screwed up on here. My numbers are worse now than when I had 100,000 subscribers. How's that possible? Right? It shouldn't be. But YouTube's involved in this class action suit. So we're going to see, because there's a lot of people that don't get notifications that have them on, and we get those messages repeatedly, and not like just a little bit, repeatedly. We get that, and that is not a good thing. And YouTube does not do anything and then inquire, hey, and then they'll give you a standard. Oh, they have to have their notifications on. Yes, fully aware of that. They're fully aware of that. Not everyone is stupid, But hey, we used to do way better numbers with 75,000 subscribers than when we do with over 400. And by the way, you've completely slowed that down, So it is what it is. I get a lot of people too that on here. They go, "Oh, we didn't know you were still making videos. We don't, because I don't show up on their page. I don't pop up. They're subscribed. They're notified. They're not notified though. So it's like that. Everyone's busy, right? That's the game. That's the fight that I'm in now, of like getting my stuff to be seen. Which Instagram, by the way, Instagram, nobody could see my stuff from the beginning of December all the way to the beginning of May. December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months I was shadow banned on IG for no reason. No reason whatsoever. Did nothing wrong on that. And that's from them, because they shadow banned me for December and said, "Oh, you shouldn't have been shadow banned." And then, but then they didn't fix it all the way through May. You tell me how that's. I was getting no views. Now I'm starting to get some views on there again. That's still nowhere near what it should be, but at least it's better than what it was. But so that's just the day to day, and it's being done to try to tire me out. And they think like I'm just going to give up and quit. Like, no, because my mindset is I'd rather be seen by some than none with that. So that ain't gonna work with the hungry mindset. I'm octo vegetarian. I think I eat eggs with that, and but primarily, which you can't say that's not vegan with that. But I made my TikTok, the TikTok live. I might end up stopping with the show a little early on the TikTok guys, because the battery is running really low, and I don't want my phone to die fully with that. So everybody over on TikTok, on the live, if you guys could swing on over to Ryback TV on YouTube and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated here, because I'm going to close the app for TikTok with that, which actually is kind of a great plug to get people to go to YouTube. I should do that more often. But I don't. I like streaming on TikTok as well for you guys. But swing over to Ryback TV, hit subscribe, turn on those notifications, and we're going to be on here for another 30, 35 minutes or so. So come check us out over there at TikTok. Thank you, guys. Try to get this damn charger working. Damn solar powered 4 Patriots really screwing me over here. It comes on and then it goes right off. What a botch machine that is. Let's see. Let's get to some more questions. I consume anywhere from 300 to 350 grams of protein per day, which is still probably higher than what some people, but I thrive off of protein. Walter, good to double W in the house. Big guy, happy to see you on. Hope all is well. Just wanted to send some support and love your way to you and the family. Thanks for coming on. Much love, Ryback. Thank you, Walter, and I hope your family is doing well and everything is going good. Always good to see you over here, man, and I appreciate you checking in. I always brings a smile to the big guy's face seeing comments from Double W in here. Yeah, Mark for life. He's been in hiding. I don't know. What do I think about CM Punk becoming AEW champion? I did see that, and I'm not. That's. I don't know. We'll have to see what they do with everything, right? I actually was going to order the pay-per-view, and I could not order it here from my home on the cable box was not usually is my cable box, and I think this happened. Something with the power went out a while back, and it's not giving me the channels. And it's done this before, and I've shut it off, and it's kicked back on where it gives you the TV guide, and it wasn't registering the TV guide with the channels. So I go to the pay-per-view channel and tried to buy it because I know what the pay-per-view channel is here, and it wouldn't let me. And I go, and then it pulled up. And it goes, "You got to call this number to fix what." And I've done that before, and it's taken an hour. And I go, "I'm not spending an hour to get this." And it was already it was literally start time for it, and it was already 5 o'clock. And I just said, I'm not even. I'll read the results, and I'll be fine with everything. So I did not see it, but we'll see. What I don't know what what they're going to go with everything. I'd like to see some good stories and programs, but I'm because the matches to me are very important, but they're not important if you don't have a story, or they get really old really quickly with that. And that's the only thing. I think there needs to be some more stories on that side of things, and more meaningful stories, more entertaining stories. Um, because I think a lot of it is, if you see one match, you've seen them all. And I think that can be Dr. Tom. I told you guys, Pritchard always said, and this was always hammered into us in developmental, you walk into a room and see two elephants fucking, you're like, whoa, two elephants fucking. That's incredible. Because I'm off TikTok and I can say that now for that, because God forbid I say that on TikTok. But you watch it again, you watch it over and you watch it over. Eventually, after 3 or 4 times, you're pretty sick of watching two elephants fuck. You're just like, okay, I get this. And that's when you do the same thing over and over without, you know, the drama in between, and mixing it up, it gets really repetitive really quickly. So, but we'll see what happens with. I'm not invested in anything. I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, he doesn't deserve that. I don't have any. I'm not there. I have no input on any of that, and we'll see how he does with it. Right. Nemesis, thank you. Yeah, well, your second book me more of an autobiography. Broken Bones and Happy Endings. Yes, that will be that. They're also a social media book at some point, and a lot of this stuff isn't going to be done until, like I said, once all this stuff is over with and done, and I've got my full reach again. I learned, it's it's just very until we get things all fixed and situated and all this BS out of the way. I stopped everything, and even writing that book, it made me really angry because like once I got to the part on WWE stuff, I stopped writing. I go, I don't want to relive this right now. I'm just not. It infuriates me and everything going on. So I just do my best to stay focused and not infuriate myself as much as possible. But yeah, it will be. I talk about the Texas shooting on the latest Feeding Time video, and I'm going to direct you to that because I talk about it over there on that video. Punk needs to turn heel and have Wardlow push for the belt. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what they do with everything. Um, I'm going to pose a question to you guys. How funny would it be? And I want people, this is based off stuff I've had to live through. Can you imagine if they went Punk Wardlow right away here? Turned Punk heel? Wardlow's really hot right now, you'd agree? Or hot, he's one of the hotter things on the show based off of their ratings, as far as in that scope of things in that world. You imagine if they did that match and then Wardlow showed up to the building and he's hot, right? We could say he's over with the crowd. That's no arguing that or denying that, right? And imagine if they had Punk beat him. They do it dirty. They would give him a low blow. Maybe they use the ref to pin him too into a count. Would you call Wardlow a failure, or that Wardlow messed up? Something to think about. And I would say that nowhere near the level that I was. And it wasn't based off numbers, but over. And there's no denying I like with that. But that just to put things in perspective for you, everyone, on the things, because that's the stuff. Imagine you can use the dirt sheets writing that guy failed, that guy didn't like, or is it just a physical acting and a guy playing a role of whatever you're told to do at that day when you get to the show? Just something for wrestling fans to think about. because that's all that it is. It's physical acting. And I'll say that no matter what position or role I am in wrestling, it is physical acting, and it's the hardest thing in the world, but it is physical acting. That's something to think about. But I do agree. I think they have they do need to capitalize on that at some point, and you either pull the trigger or you got to continue to build him in interesting feuds. And I don't know how much more interesting you can get. They have to figure out something with him because the MJF stuff was so good, right? And they milked that for all that it was worth, and it's over with now. So now you have to either go, do we want to put the title on him? Which I'm going to tell you right now, I would be, I unless Punk has changed massively, which it's possible, but Punk's always been for Punk, and he's really good at saying he's about. Oh, I want to give you ice cream. I want you to like me. I'm going to wear shirts that I think people are going to like me for, right? But there's a whole different side, and it is what it is. So, and I'm sure he's going to want to hold on to that for as long as he can. So I don't know if you want Wardlow going against him right now. Good question. When you were on Tough Enough talking trash to the Big Show, did you know that he was coming out to body slam you guys? No, we did not know. But I did. I, being a wrestling fan, knew that once we were told to cut a promo on him, and that we were told before not to put our hands on any wrestlers. We were not told that. The beginning of that show, they eventually started telling us, kind of giving us idea what we were doing. But in the beginning episodes, we had no idea what we were doing. And I just knew in my head, I just said, try not to. These guys clearly don't like us. We were outsiders, much outsiders as you could be with that. As far, even though we were wrestling fans, a lot of us and whatnot, and those guys, and like the vibe there was not good. Like from the talent and guys coming in potentially winning $1 million, which was more than 90, probably something percent of the guys on the roster. Right. So I just knew to kind of keep my promo than I did. I just more not bashing him, which is why I think and when I took off my shirt and got in his face and he body slammed me, that was real. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just like, I'm not going to just stand here. I've always just not. I don't know if you guys know. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not afraid of. I'm not like, I don't like swing. I don't care. But same time, if I would have said some stuff about him that was disrespectful, like Nick Mitchell called him a big pile of shit, and Nick got slapped, right? And the guys that said disrespectful things, he kind of roughed up a little bit more. He was very good with me, and that's because I didn't do anything disrespectful, in my opinion, on any of that. And we hadn't even had any wrestling training, by the way. We didn't start training till after that week. Then our in-ring stuff started. That was the beginning of, we had no in-ring training. We hadn't even learned how to do a body slam yet on any of that. And that's why you see the only guy that knew how to take it was Miz, because Miz had been wrestling on the indies a little bit prior. None of us other had any wrestling training, so we didn't know how to post for a body slam or anything like that. So Big Show's just dead weight picking all of us up, which was pretty damn impressive. But also too, I'm glad, because I told you, we were told not to put our hands. If we touched them, we would be terminated. Like, we'd be done. So none of us thought the wrestlers were gonna, and we were told they weren't gonna touch us with what was explained to us. So I remember when Big Show slapped Nick Mitchell, I was just like, Jesus, I wouldn't have seen it coming, because you're told one thing with that. So, because he busted his eardrum on that, by the way. He was messed up. He was messed up for a while. I don't know if Bray Wyatt is coming back, buddy. But I could see. I ask you not to spam the chat. I know you're just really excited. But we're gonna go ahead and put somebody else in timeout. Try not to block anybody from Rybackville. You've been put in timeout asking about the Giga, Chad. Yep, we're taking care of them. Kurt Angle actually talked about that on his podcast with what happened with that. And I talked about it just a couple episodes ago, if I'm not mistaken. They were running us and tiring us out. I had to eat a whole bowl of pasta. I was the only one to finish the whole bowl of pasta in a thing of milk, whole milk. And then they went and ran us some more. And then they took us straight to the ring, completely blown up. And I think Bruce Pritchard and them, and Kurt talked about, or Bruce Pritchard, they smartened Kurt up to like who was big and strong and who was really tired and who to probably avoid, or their background on things, because essentially that whole thing was rigged because it was like a burpee contest, and we knew what was going on. They were eliminating people that were doing them right, or that were not like, it wasn't legit. We didn't know that. We all thought, and like I hadn't done anything to be eliminated. I was doing perfect burpees on him like that, and the guy that they picked to win that was Chris Nowinski guy, and I believe it was Chris Naraki. Chris Naraki, very nice guy, big guy, and overweight a bit. And he was probably the least coordinated out of all of us, and little like I don't like ever like he just maybe wasn't as athletic as the rest of us, and was a little bit like very big, maybe a little awkward is the correct word, but he was so blown up that Kurt would have been able to easily manhandle him, and he did with that. Whereas if you got somebody else, and even though none of us were the wrestlers that Kurt were, but if you're dealing with somebody that's strong, you never know what can happen out there, right? So I think they wanted to make sure Kurt was protected as much as possible. Then they went under on time supposedly, and they or Vince was ribbing. I think it was just Vince ribbing Kurt personally with that, because you protect your talent at all times. That they had Kurt like pick somebody else, and Pewter put his hand up, and nothing was explained. And to Pewter's credit, nobody knew like what you should or shouldn't do. Like we didn't even know what was going on. Like it was just weird, and that's why that happened. Like, and it was just Kurt never should have been in that position. Kurt was, and I don't know. I'm sure he's talked about it, but I just know when you're on the road in wrestling, he had his neck injury and all beat up and nerve stuff going on. Like, man, you don't need to be being, and he's top guy. Like that's, you don't put them in that position like on live TV. You just don't do it. And that's why it was weird. I go, man, I knew that. That's why it was awakening to like these guys that they're under contract. They treat them like this, like the Basham brothers. Like when I almost got the flag, it was the 2-on-1 with all of us, and they had to take on all of us. So they're getting more and more tired each and every time one of us goes, and have to try to get by them to get that fat flag in the corner. They were told if any of us got the flag, they were going to be fired. And I believe that was 100% legit. And those guys had to like, they were fighting for their lives. And the guys in the back, their peers, like, don't let these guys get the flag. Like, yeah, cool. But you're going up, like, we're all young and jacked up dudes, and they're getting more and more tired. Like, and I got really, really like I almost bowled through. I couldn't like it was just if I had maybe just a tad angled, a tad different, could have got through it. But they were fighting at a much level that they were fighting for their jobs with that. It was just a different I can't imagine being just having to be put in that position. It is what it is. But yep, I love Kurt Angle. I've nothing I respect Kurt so much. He's always been so nice to me. Yeah, it was a crazy concept, and it was not coordinated. It was like majority of the stuff it's not coordinated to the level that I think of some of you think that the stuff is. Let's see. Good to see all of you. Hello, hello. Good to see you, ABC. I used to do a lot of interviews here. I'd stopped, and for multiple reasons on that. Um, with that. And this is more. I like to like again. I like the questions. And the show depends. The ebb and flow of the show depends on the questions that we get. I like when people ask questions that can actually help in different things, whether it's health and fitness, supplementation, mindset, life, pro wrestling, whatever it is. Sometimes it's pro wrestling heavy. Sometimes we get into better stuff, but it all just kind of depends on the questions that are being asked for each particular show. This I'd like doing much more with Feed Me More Nutrition. It ties into my supplements a lot better. It helps sales a lot better than interviewing random guests. And with everything going on with my social media channels and scheduling people, this is the best version. Like I enjoy doing this with my schedule right now, the way that it um, is the best all the way around with that. But I not to say I do think I'll have people on again at some point, but I enjoy doing this like this for right now. I don't know who's going to win the trial between Johnny and Amber. I haven't. I don't. I've not watched it outside of some clips, so I can't make an assumption based off just clips. It wouldn't be smart to do that. Some people just can't help themselves. Shell shocked out of Rybackville. Put somebody in timeout for spamming with the same question, and then they come back after timeout and just start with the same question. Then you get shell shocked out of Rybackville. I do own Feed Me More. Yes, I own the big guy own Feed Me More, and I will be the soon to be sole owner of the Ryback trademark. Yeah, hey Walter, I didn't even see your thing before on that, and I when I scrolled up and I saw, I think you're talking about the Basham brothers with the flag in the corner. And that guy shell shocked before they could even do too much damage. Thank you for playing. What's going on Instagram? Any good questions over on Instagram today? Was driving John Cena into the Titantron fun? That was, yeah, that was a pretty cool. They had a big air mattress. They had to blow up this enormous, big like stuntman, big air thing that when we hit it, we hit it and then it deflates, I believe, really quickly. Or you hit it, it starts deflating, and I think we had to hit it and get off of it, if I remember correctly, because they had to go back there and we had to be on the concrete. So we did the stunt and go through the that which wasn't the real Titantron. They gimmick it with a fake Titantron like with the explosives and that's not the heavy like the regular Titantron, so that when we could run through it, and then we land on the big air mattress, and then we had to get up and lie back down how we landed, how the camera, however they saw, and so that when they gave, I think we had like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. We had a certain amount of time to get cleared out so that it looked like we landed on the concrete on all of that, if I remember correctly on doing that. But we had to like go through rehearsals on that and like actually rehearse it and hurrying up and getting in position so that when the cameras are there, we're not moving and we're already in position, because otherwise you kill off the whole thing, right? Yeah, the show was live, and I just explained it to you in great detail of exactly how we did it. So I don't know what else you want from me there, buddy. Somebody asks a question, you give them literally the details, and then they like, no, it was live. That didn't happen. That was live. Okay, it didn't happen. Social media. That's like the defining comment of social media of what it could be. The best thing to consume to get or do to get skinny as a 13-year-old is, I think, is eating healthy and being physical. And if you're overweight, doing activities and playing and being a kid and doing some different things that you could do depending on your health and what you're capable of. Just being active is the best thing you could do with a diet, and not eating a lot of processed foods, and trying to learn about nutrition. And that, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have parents that know about it. And we live in a world that what we know is put in our heads by our baby brains from whoever's raising us. So if whoever's is raising us, who are parents or whatever, if they don't know about health and fitness, chances are we're not going to know about health and fitness. The good thing is, about now in this day and age in 2022, you could tune in and watch things and learn everything you need on our phones, and find the information you need, that you don't need to have intelligent parents or parents that are aware of this stuff. We can learn anything now at any age that we didn't have access to before, like when I was growing up, until the internet came out in the high school with that. But like, it's so you gotta just you gotta learn what to put in your body, and to eat healthy, fruits and vegetables and different things, more plant-based foods. And you got to know how many calories. You got to have an idea. And you don't got to be, you're young, you don't need to be specific, but a lot of that is, it's not an answer that could be just simply answered on a show like this. I could tell you to go look at the BMR calculator on feedmemore.com and plug in your information and see how many calories you need a day. And then it's going to take a lot of work on your part to learn how many calories you're going to need, and learning the foods and having a diverse diet. And you're kind of at whoever you live with, and you got to educate yourself, so maybe you can educate them. And it's not going to happen overnight, but healthier, less processed foods are a great way to start. A lot of vegetables and different things, and different, just healthier options. And then you got to learn like what the healthier options are. And then maybe you come on here and you ask me, how's this? Should I eat this? And I could do, no, instead of that, try this. Right. But there's like, I got blogs on feedmemore.com. They're all free. You could read. We have a lot of blogs on diet and nutrition that will give you some ideas of different foods and get the ball rolling for you. And then you could start, it's just stuff, you just write some stuff down, and it's just going to be adding to that week after week, and making improvements, and learning on what you need to put in your body. But being active is going to help a lot, especially when you're young. Chips are not a good start. I like it too. There's some people that think that I just eat chips. I was like, that video was only done because a nice fan in Canada sent me a bag of chips with a bunch of snacks, and those chips were in it. And that's what started the chip ASMR. And I did a few of them after that. And but I'm not actually a big chip guy. I don't eat a lot of chips at all. I don't have chips in the house outside of occasionally get some chips and salsa for my cheat meal, with like if I'm due, like before my carb day, and maybe for my last meal I'll get a couple like Chipotle burritos, and I'll have some chips and salsa or chips and guacamole with it or something. That will be the extent of it. Yeah, that chip video has been my best video by far, though, on every, like, to this day. It's my most watched YouTube video. Oh, Walter, yeah. I actually had plant-based hot dogs on Memorial Day. We made up some good ones here. They were really, really good. That's there's some really good. I tell you, Wiener Schnitzel. They actually have good vegan hot dogs now. I did a video on them. I was impressed by how good they were. Good to see you, Daniel. Good to see you. We're always doing the things for Feed Me More Nutrition. You can, for the merchandise, Ryback Show 20 to save 20%. Ryback Show 20 over on feedmemore.com. Thanks for stopping by, Bill. Good to see you, my man. Switzerland in the house. How strong am I? I'm pretty strong. I did just put a video up again on TikTok, and I think it was TikTok. Was it IG too, or just TikTok, where I deadlifted 335 pounds 30 times. This was in Roanoke. I believe it was in Roanoke, Virginia. Tribute to the troops. 2000. I think it was the end of 2012. I was a baby face still, and I think it was December of 2012, and I had to go wrestle Alberto Del Rio on Raw. And they had a weight room there that I was not aware they had a weight room there at that time. And Daniel Bryan was in the locker room. I'm in my gear and had my shorts and t-shirt on, my wrestling boots, because the show was getting closer. And Daniel Bryan was in the locker room, and as he was boasting about deadlifting 335, like pretty boldly braggadocious, just like it was just being Dan on this. And I always Dan and me at that point, and I like just really downplayed it because I was I'm gonna just poke him back, and he didn't. I don't know if he knowing him, he had to have said something to get my attention to where. But at that point, we'd rode together, so it's also possible he didn't, and I was just giving him shit as well. But I remember I said something that like 335, that's nothing. Like to me, it was nothing. And he, I don't know if he did it like three times. I want to say he did it like three times, which is why I think I probably said, oh, I could do that like 30 or something. And he called me out on it in front of everybody's in the locker room, and he called me out on it. And I'm in my head though, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, cool. Like I'm pretty sure I could do that 30 times. I don't think I'd ever had done it 30, but I'm pretty good at like knowing myself, and like I wouldn't have said the number if I didn't think I could get close to it. But I also didn't know they had a weight room there, right? And Dan goes, well, great, they have a weight room next door. Let's go. So now, and Dan's really good at getting everybody. Like when Dan wants to like put the pressure on you, like, right, let's go, guys. So now the locker room, yeah, let's see Ryback do 335 30 times. So now you can't say no. I mean, I had to wrestle like within an hour, like on this, and I'll tell you about that after with this. So, but I'm in my head, I'm like, well, I said it, I got to go do it. So we go, the weight room's not even just down a couple hallways, couple turns next to the trainers. I don't know how I missed it, just never knew they had a weight room there. And 335 is on the bar. They have the camera. So, and I think if you like I mean, you can't see that. Seth Rollins in there, Kofi, Cesaro. I mean, there's a lot of people in there watching. But everyone like, and whoever's recording, I don't even know anyone was recording this at the time. And I'm sure it was this is either way. If I do it, it looks great. If I don't, Dan looks great, right? So I just start doing it. And I take my time starting off to try to just feel the weight. And I knew when from the time to walking over, I'm thinking of like my approach on like 30 times. And so, and I deadlifted enough to know like at some point, like the fatigue is going to really, really get really overwhelming. But if I could like just get the number to close enough. So I knew at some point I was really going to have to pick up the speed and like let the adrenaline kick in. And I let that happen naturally. I didn't, if you notice, so I do it and I just I just get some reps in. I let my hands kind of like, I don't hold my grip really too firm because I'm doing it over under grip. No wrist straps, by the way, on this. And then I don't remember if it was like rep 8 or 9 or 10, 12, somewhere around. I just start picking up the pace. And I think I picked up the pace and just like a machine, busted them out really quickly until I got to, I think, 23. And then I had to let my like do a couple little small, like no breaks, just not as fast as I was. And I got 30 with that. So my back though was so pumped. I had to go find a spot and lay down. I think that was the most going out there to wrestle. I was shot. Like not energy, just like my body. Cause like I pushed myself to failure at a pretty decent weight on that. So I've been really strong and had good endurance on being strong as well, which I think is a very good thing for wrestling. Hello, hello. Congratulations on graduating from school, Andrew. I hope it goes well, and you're looking forward to the next chapter of your life. And I wish you nothing but the best. Tyler asks tips for someone wanting to get into wrestling. I think you gotta depending on where you're at, take a look at what your wrestling school options are. If it's something, I don't think it's a bad idea to, if you can find a good school and you need to know, and you'll be able to, typically a good school is somebody that's made it. And not necessarily, it doesn't always have to be, there's always exceptions to the rule because there are a lot of good people, but they're never going to know outside of the moves a lot of the other stuff, which there's so many more important things. But you could get some basic good advice from a school, no doubt. And then eventually, I'm going to tell you, you went Ohio Valley Wrestling with Al Snow. You're going to learn the proper way. I think, and they're doing some really cool things. I think that's a very, um, I think if you're wanting to be a wrestler or an aspiring wrestler or in wrestling, I think that's a great location to try to put on people's goal boards on part of your journey, uh, to get some training from that place, despite whether you want to stay there long term or not. I don't think that's a bad idea at all. He's very good. And I'm telling everything he ever told me and told us, and uh, was right. And sometimes it took years to see it, and other stuff applied a little sooner than others. Um, but he gave very good, genuine advice, and not just about just wrestling. And his psychology is very good, and it helped, and like a lot of that stuff as I came along and things, and I was able to apply it later, and once things really clicked for me, and it's a very good place. So I'm gonna put that place as probably one of the number one places in Louisville, Kentucky to go. Brother, I've never somebody asked, do you ever see yourself going into the Hall of Fame? I've never ever thought. I don't you don't get paid for that. I could care less. And I don't see until this the legal stuff with the Ryback trademark is over, you know, I don't, I wouldn't even, it's nothing. It can be, there's so many things that are so far ahead of anything. I don't even look, I'm not even nowhere close to like even with my mind being done. I haven't even gotten started yet, in my opinion. So, but there's a lot that needs to be finished, and I've just got to wrap up a few things, and then we can move forward. But I tell you one thing, and this is not, and I could be things could like there could be no issues with WWE. I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. I don't care about like legacy, I don't care. All I care about is me and taking care of my family and being a good person in general. Like I don't care because in 100 years, no one's going to give a shit about anything we did. And people, even if they do, no one really cares. Even do you give a lot of thought about George Washington? Do you give a lot of thought about anybody else that done like? Do you really honor them? We're all grateful and we learn from people, but man, like in 100 years, if the world's even still here, 1,000 years, none of this shit matters. I just do what I like. I'm happy. I love physical acting. I love doing it. I want to go back and do some cool roles. I have some cool ideas, but man, I don't do it to think. I do it, and I want the money to take care of me and my family and do other things that I love and enjoy. I could care less if at the end of the day, like, oh, you won this titles because you never won anything. It's all physical props. And a lot, it's real effort, and it's not, but it's showing up to a building and them telling you. And this is coming from a guy who has won one. So you can't say that I'm just saying that because I never won. I've won one. I've won a big one. It means nothing in the grand scheme of things. And it was just a role, and it could have been the other. And I've been on the other end of putting other guys over when they've won them, right? So it's physical acting. And I don't care about any of that, man. And that's not meant like as a knock or a dig. I just don't. You heard Brock say it on the show. He doesn't give a shit about any of that. I don't think about it. I just want I do what I like, and I just have a good time. People are always going to talk that live their lives through other people and whatnot, but I don't get too caught up in any of that, right? And it's I'm not, but I've given like no thought, like as far as there's so many other things that are ahead of anything like that, and it's yeah. Thank you, Old Sports Immortal. This is Ryback. Your thinking ability is off the charts. I greatly appreciate that. I do listen and read a lot of books, and I'm not. I don't. I'm constantly trying to learn and improve. I just look at things from like with common sense and as much logic as possible, but common sense. And I a lot of very self aware, and I've learned what like happiness is, and I feel very thankful for that. And it allows me to not like just to be real and not to be I'm not worried about like the things that I say as far as like because I've learned people are going to love and hate you regardless, so I'm just me based off what I know and what I've learned on things. And I think like intelligence is it varies, and like there's people I know that are extreme like book smart that know so much of stuff that I know nothing about, and they don't know so much about a lot of the things that I know about. And like it's just that we're all different in our own unique ways. But I just look at things from a common sense standpoint from the majority of things. I'm not into fiction. I am not a fiction reader. We're going to end today's show on this question. Have I ever broke out of the master lock? I have not been put in the master lock. But if it's, I'm assuming that me and Chris Masters have never crossed paths. I know Chris. He was, we've, I know him, and he's very nice. And but we've never like wrestled or been in the same promotion together or on a show together that I can think of. Yeah, I don't think we're on the same show or anything. I've been to TVs when he was up there when I was still in developmental and whatnot, and then when I was up there, he was on his way out. I think NXT, and then I think he had left, got released, and he's still going. I'm shocked. I'm actually kind of shocked he's never been back. I thought because he stayed active, and I don't know what the deal was with him is as far as with them because he still looks absolutely fantastic. And I know I remember when I was up there, the word everyone was like he was so much he was working and like it improved significantly from early. And not to say I always enjoyed him, I never, and but like he'd improved, and that's all you can ask for talent, just to keep improving, right, and work hard. And but for whatever reason they released him, and he's just never been back. And I don't know if that's by his choice. I don't know if they've contacted him. I don't know, but I've always thought that he could. I think with guys, they don't have a lot of guys that he still looks fantastic. And I don't know, I don't know if I don't know what his life is or anything like that. But if he can look similar to that and be back there, I think he'd be very beneficial to them. But and with that, guys, we're going to wrap up today's show. I appreciate all the love and support as always. Make sure to check out feedmemore.com for all your Feed Me More nutrition, all the Ryback merch. Save 20% with discount code RYBACKSHOW20, RYBACKSHOW20 at checkout over on feedmemore.com. We'll be back tomorrow for another live. We'll try to maybe shoot around that 9 o'clock a.m. time for people not getting notifications. We'll try to, and it's not going to always be there, but try to shoot for around 9 a.m. On the lives in the morning with that. And until next time, my friends, stay hungry. Feed me more.